Hello. Did the music work, or was there no music? Ah, there was music, right? I was trying. I was trying. Sorry, I don't know what I did. I don't know what I did. I was trying to have music playing the whole time, and I don't know. Apparently, it wasn't working, and then it was working. Well, that's okay. Here, I'll play the music now, and we'll do that now. All right, I won't let the whole thing play a second time. I had the whole thing playing the first time, and then I guess it didn't work. And then, anyway, I'm trying different stuff, as you can tell. Welcome to whatever this is, another hour of fun-filled programming with me, your host, Phil Machi. And if you're new to this show, somehow, if you've managed to not be in on this for the past over 2 months, well, you're in for a treat, because this is an hour of entertainment that involves you, the audience. And typically, there's a lot of creative stuff that's discussed. Sometimes we discuss movies. Sometimes we discuss cartoon TV show things. Sometimes we talk about the work that you see behind me here. It's a little bit of something different every single time. And some days I plan it, and some days I don't. Most days I do not plan it. But I try to throw a little bit of everything in there, and that's why the show is called Whatever This Is. That music was from the Grim Fandango, which is one of my favorite video games of all time. A little computer game that I played back in college, and it's got one of the best soundtracks ever. And it is who did the soundtrack to Grim Fandango? Who did the soundtrack? Let me figure that out. I don't remember. I don't remember who did the soundtrack to the Grim Fandango. I am so sorry. Let's see. Let me do a quick Wikipedia search and figure out who did the music to Grim Fandango. 1998 video game. And the music was Peter McConnell. Peter McConnell. And actually, the game was available for. Wow! Somehow it says it's available for PlayStation 4. Well, that's interesting. I'm going to have to look that up later, because I have a PlayStation 4, and if they've adapted it for PlayStation 4, that means I can play it again on my PlayStation 4. Oh! There's an Xbox One version scheduled for release this year. A Nintendo Switch port came out in 2018. Holy cow! How did I not know this? And then, yeah, I guess there's a version for PS4. Yeah, it had a fully orchestrated score. It's one of those things that it's one of those games that just really kind of lived on in infamy and continued to, I guess, continued to have a life. So I'm gonna have to pick it up for the PlayStation. It's such a wonderful little game. Really great. Style. I wouldn't be surprised if it made a comeback at some point, but apparently it's still living on in people's hearts and current game systems. So there you go. There you go. Tanya says, makes me think of that fat fan dance with the big fans hiding the naked lady. Well, I'm not going to argue with that, Tanya. Britt said, I almost said Cuphead. No, it's not Cuphead. The name of the game is Grim Fandango. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of stuff that I don't know, Tabitha. Don't even joke about that. The Grim Fandango. There, I threw that into chat. There you go, the Grim Fandango. Oh, I put it in chat, but it puts it in chat on YouTube. How curious is that? Huh. Interesting, interesting. Oh, I can put people in timeout on YouTube. Oh, how interesting. I can't do it with Facebook, but I can do it with people on YouTube. I can put them in timeout, and I can block them. I am learning all kinds of new things this week because this is day number 3 of the simulcast between Facebook and YouTube. Earlier this week, I did do a simulcast on Twitch, and pretty much nobody seemed to care about that. So I'm trying YouTube now. Since there seems to be a smidge more interest in the YouTube world. So there you go. There you go. No, I cannot punish you, Tabitha. Only you guys can punish me. Just kidding. So anyway, welcome to Saturday, you guys. Has anybody done the homework yet? I'm curious. I have not done it yet. I plan on tackling that later this evening. But I am curious if anybody has watched Alice in Wonderland yet this weekend, and if, gosh, has anybody done the extra credit? I don't expect many people to do the extra credit, but I hope you do. I really hope you do. Laura says, "Ha! We at Facebook are invincible." That's really not how she wrote it out, but it's the way I heard it in my head. It's the way I heard it in my head, and I'm so glad you guys are here. Thank you for being here. Once again, the homework this weekend is going to be watching Alice in Wonderland, the Disney classic film, and then the extra credit, if you will. I put a link on it on my Facebook wall or profile or whatever you want to call it. If you'd like to go and take a look, I put links. Thank you to Tanya for those links earlier yesterday. But anyway, so the extra credit is for Alice Through the Looking Glass, which was a made-for-TV special back in 1985. The reason why I chose to make that the extra credit, not because it's animated, because it's not animated. It's just really weird. And the story of Alice in Wonderland is also weird. And the 85 version always felt to me like somehow it was able to capture that weirdness in its own unique, weird way. And I feel like it needs to be seen by people because it's been too long. It's been forgotten. David Harm says, "Darn, I guess I will be the first person on quarantine on YouTube." The first person on quarantine on YouTube? What do you mean? Andy was trying the YouTube thing out yesterday. He was actually watching this show from YouTube yesterday, so I know it works. I know it's been working. Tabitha says, "Nope, I was actually really productive at home and haven't touched the homework yet." That's okay. Being productive at home is very important. I was also being productive today, kids. I started inking my run cycle that I've been working on all week. You might have been recalling I've been talking about this run cycle. It's 10 frames of animation, followed by like another 42 that I still have to ink in. But 10 frames I managed to properly finish my pencils on this week, and so I started in on the inking process. I have 3 out of 10 frames completed. What I think I'm going to do is probably some kind of a progress video to kind of share with you guys maybe later this weekend. What I'm thinking of doing is having 5 frames on and 5 frames off, which means 5 frames would be the finished ink version of the drawing, and the other 5 frames will be the pencil drawing, and it'll flip between those two, and you can just play it ad infinitum, so you can kind of see the character running. The character will not be running that long of a period of time in the actual cartoon. In reality, it's going to be like 1 second of film. But it was really important to me that I got this run cycle correct. I just really wanted to get it right. I won't be getting a whole lot of mileage out of it, but it's been really a good training piece for me. So Britt says, "Worked on another balloon smash painting, okay, with slightly different colors on a 12 by 24 canvas." Very cool. I'm sure we'll see that on Wednesday. Laura says, "Close enough, Phil. Close enough." Yes, that was she's referring to my statement about the muahaha and the way she said things. Laura says, "Hey, Britt, what's a balloon smash painting?" Well, Laura, I don't believe you were here on Work in Progress Wednesday, but I'll let Britt explain it. But she did share with us some of the paintings she was working on Wednesday, and I'm assuming we'll see more of them this coming Wednesday. Which reminds me, though, guys, that means the countdown clock is one more notch in, which means, for those of you who don't know this yet, Wednesday is the last day of whatever this is for a period of time. I don't know if it's the last day forever. I don't plan on it being the last day forever, but I can't predict the future. Let's just say it's the last day for now. The last day for now. So each day over these next 4 or 5 days are going to be very special, because each one of them we are getting closer and closer to Wednesday, and then it's time for the show to take a break. So I do hope you'll be here as many of the days as you possibly can. And, I'm also looking for feedback. If you decide you like what I'm doing and you want it to continue, and you have any kind of feedback, positive, negative, neutral, whatever, it doesn't really matter what it is. I'd be interested in knowing what your thoughts are, so that if and when the show comes back, I can try to take some people's thoughts into consideration. There's no guarantee I'm going to use what you say, or even, apply it. But if enough people tell me the same thing, I'm definitely going to be considering that, obviously. So that is kind of what's going on. That's what's going on. Let me turn off the YouTube thing there, and a little banner there. So yes, once again, today is Saturday the 23rd of May. The part of the reason why I'm saying that, and why I'm putting the day of the week on the bottom of the screen recently, and it's okay if people watch this show later, but I've been noticing that I'm getting people watching the show from like 3 days ago now, which again is fine, but it makes me wonder if people are seeing that and thinking that that's the current one. So I'm trying to kind of I guess it doesn't really matter, but I thought maybe it'd be helpful. So anyway, Britt says a type of balloon smash paintings are a type of flow painting where you use a balloon as a sort of a brush / sponge in technique form. There are some really good YouTube videos that demonstrate it. And Laura says, thanks, I'll check that out. For those of you who don't know what flow painting is, there are people out there who dump a bunch of paint on a canvas and kind of let the paint ooze around the canvas. And then they sort of, it's a little bit more involved in that, but I don't know if it's that much more involved than that. But they basically take the canvas and sort of shift it around to control where the flow is going, and then they let it dry like that. So Britt says, I'm going to try a swipe flow painting tomorrow with Americana colors for Memorial Day. Well, that's very nice of you, Britt. I think it's good. This is of course a Memorial Day weekend, and that's not the reason why I'm taking a break. Obviously, I'm taking the break starting after next Wednesday, so clearly it's not because of Memorial Day weekend. But I do have another kind of holiday coming up, personal holiday, and so that's part of the reason why I'm taking a break. The other reason I'm taking a break is because I'm starting to make some pretty decent progress moving forward on this animated film, and I really want to move quicker. And as much as I love doing this show, I love being here with you guys. You guys are super great. This show is also kind of throwing a bit of a monkey wrench in my workflow. So for at least a little while, I'm going to try to see how things go without that, and see if I can get some more work done. Kevin Garcia says, just had my wisdom teeth pulled this morning. Oh, geez, Kevin. Yowza. I had that done back when I was a teenager, and that was not a fun time. Let me tell you, I'm sure you're not feeling great. He says, still trying to figure out how and what I should eat. Well, my friend, the blender is your friend. That's what I will say. That's awful. I mean, I'm glad that it's over with, but yeah, happy healing to you, man. I hope you heal quickly, because I can imagine that. I hope that after a week, you're going to be feeling up to doing your show again next Friday. Britt says, basically, the balloon smash results will look something like Phil's shirt. Kind of, but my shirt actually has like distinct leaf patterns on it, but I understand what you're saying. Kind of like it, yeah. Laura says, Kevin, ouch, hope you recover quickly. And Tanya says, Kevin, how are you even upright? I agree, man. Man, when I had my wisdom teeth taken out, it was not pretty. My body did not decide it wanted to heal very quickly. And so I was like bleeding out of the mouth like for a while. I remember laying in bed and like without getting too gross, let's just say blood was pooling, and we'll just leave it at that. There was more to it than that, but it was the bleeding was not stopping, and it was not a good thing. It was not a good thing. Kevin says, now people tell me, how was I to know it would be awful? I do have a blender I'd never use. Yeah, you should definitely use that blender, Kevin. And I think you had an idea that taking out wisdom teeth would be awful. Come on, you had to know a little bit. Laura said, I will very much miss this show, but I get that you need to concentrate on your project. Good luck. Thank you, Laura. I mean, I was only planning on being gone for a week, but I'll be perfectly honest. I can't make that promise right now. I know I want to take a break for like, let's see, what day is Wednesday? Wednesday is the 27th. Okay. So I have a birthday that happens at the end of the month. That's part of the reason why I'm taking some time off. Okay. Obviously, after Wednesday, there's not very many days left in the month, so you can kind of narrow down and figure out where my birthday kind of is. But that's part of the reason I want to take some time off. But again, the rest of the reason is I'm trying to get my workflow going, and I've got a lot that I want to do, and this project is really, it takes me a long time to make progress, and I've so many other things I want to get going. So I'm gonna have to like find a way to break up my days and maybe move quickly on some projects and slower on others. And anyway, I need there to be more time in the day, and right now this is the only chunk of time that I can really locate that makes sense in removing for a little while. That and sleep. I guess I can probably get rid of some sleep too. But I'll very much miss you too, Laura. And again, I don't know if I'm not going to come back at all. I don't know if that's the case, but it's a for now thing. Kevin says my bottom lip is swollen and numb, and my bottom jaw doesn't quite work yet. I want it to work again, but then I know I'll also start feeling more pain. That is very true, Kevin. I'm so sorry. I'm glad that the worst is over as far as the work is concerned, but I'm just hoping for some speedy healing for you, man. Thank you for the happy pre-birthday, Kevin, and also from you, Britt. Britt says, so Kevin, I'm surprised that you're still kicking right afterwards. Yeah, I agree. And she also says, all I wanted to do was sleep and cry when I got my wisdom teeth removed. I looked like a deformed chipmunk for 2 weeks. Oh, geez. Tanya says, ice cream, pudding, and Jell-O. The cold will feel good. I can't agree more, but you do need some other nourishment besides that, so be ready to blend a steak and suck a steak through a big fat straw. That's what you can do. I imagine rice will be fine. You could do the rice thing. You could do soups, all kinds of soups, maybe some cold soups like gazpacho, things like that. But just be prepared for some sensitivity things. Stevie says mine was not too bad. I had a cheeseburger afterwards. Maybe you were still numb, huh? That could have been part of what it was. Kevin says I didn't really think about it. I hadn't been to a dentist in like 20 years, so I figured now's as good as ever. Holy cow, man! Why'd you wait that long? Tanya says grits and oatmeal are soft too. On the other end, yeah, that's true. What do you mean on the other end? You mean like when they come back out again? What are you talking about? So anyway, well, Kevin's got some healing ahead of him. That's for sure. That's for darn sure. Kevin, this is a good time for you to catch up on some movies and things, I think, probably, if you're not feeling so great. Or you can just catch up on sleep. Laura said, I had mine out right after the special edition of the original Star Wars trilogy. I bought myself the box set as a pre-surgery consolation prize. All right, that sounds pretty good. I mean, yeah, get yourself prepared for some major healing. When I was a kiddo, or less of an adult, whatever, I would watch Aladdin whenever I had a sick day. Whenever I stayed home from school, it didn't happen too often, but whenever I stayed home from school, Aladdin was my go-to movie. And to this day, whenever I watch Aladdin, I kind of feel a little bit of that nostalgia. Tanya says, temperature, Phil, hot instead of cold. I knew you wouldn't let that slip by. Sorry. Yeah, I know, you're right. No, I figured the temperature, we got to keep them on the cold stuff for sure. Britt says, I really don't remember if I ate anything after getting mine removed. Kevin says, 2 years ago, I had severe pain in my wisdom teeth for a few months, but since I didn't have dental insurance at the time, I figured I'd wait. And when the insurance kicked in, the pain was gone. So I put off going for another year. My friend, of all the things, you're a very intelligent person, but of all the things I've ever read from you, that's on the lower end of the intelligence scale, man. Teeth are like maintenance on your car. You got to keep them happening. You got to keep the maintenance going. It's a very important thing. I can't stress that enough. I hate to be the bearer of bad news or whatever, but really, or the overbearing dad. But seriously, like, that's one of those things you got to take care of. You got to take care of your teeth, man. Super important. Super important. But anyway, the good point is that the work has been done, so now you just got to get better each day, little by little, and I think you'll be probably fine in about a week, maybe less than a week, but I think a week from now you're going to feel loads better. Maybe have some pain medication handy for a little while, I would say. But yeah, well, let this be a lesson to everybody else. Go to the dentist. Kevin says, the dentist looked at my teeth and said they were basically all right. No cavities or holes. They could use a cleaning, and the wisdom teeth could use to come out before they get worse. Okay. All right. Well, that's very good. Some people just have better teeth genetically than others. Stevie goes, I didn't go for 15 years, and now I have to go every 3 months. That is not very pleasant. But going every 3 months for cleanings isn't the worst thing, unless you're going every 3 months for other reasons. Unless you're like, maybe you got a crush on your dentist. Laura says, sometimes when I'm down with a cold, I have the perverse need to reread The Stand. I can then tell myself that at least I'm not dying of a fictional super flu. Oh, too soon. Kevin says, the problem with recovery is I may be doing my next talk on Wednesday instead of Friday. We'll see how I feel in a few days. Kevin, maybe that's a little bit too soon, my friend. Also, if Wednesday is going to be the last day that I'm doing this show, I certainly hope you're not planning on skipping being here. That would be sad. It's Work in Progress Wednesday. Don't miss Work in Progress Wednesday. Everyone's favorite day, or some people's favorite days, or something. Britt says, worst part about getting my wisdom teeth removed, I didn't even wake up high afterwards. It was just misery. I'm not someone who goes to get high, but give me something to deal with the pain. Yeah, I hear you, Britt. Laura says, Kevin, oh man, good luck. Hey, Amanda Stairs here. Kevin says, Wednesday at 5 would still make it okay for the last whatever this is. That's true. Well, let's not call it the last. That makes me sad, although it might be. It might be. I don't know. I've learned in the past not to, or over the years, to not try to pigeonhole myself into too many things, because it doesn't go well for me when I do that. It doesn't bode well. Let's see. I can show you a little bit of some of the inking I was working on today. You can see a bunch of other drawings through it, but there's some inking that happened today. And it's been fun. It's like, as I've been inking a drawing in, I've been going and scanning it and then adding it into the pencil test that I have. And then I push play, and it's like he flickers into existence for a hot second. It's kind of fun. Eventually, it's going to be the other way around, where he's going to be mostly inked in, and then he'll flicker, out for a moment. Kevin says the season finale of whatever this is that really a good? I mean, we can call it season finale. I mean, but is what? How many weeks is that? 9 weeks? Is 9 weeks really good for a season? That doesn't seem all that good. Britt says, Alexandria Shinkan, if you want to join the live stream on Wednesday to show your headbands. Oh, okay. She was tagging somebody. Gotcha. Stevie says, I need to make something epic for the Wednesday. if it's going to be the last one for a while. It is going to be the last one for a while, Stevie. That is very correct. It is. I've committed to that. I was going to make it. I was going to make like Monday the last show for a while, and then I realized if I stopped after Monday, being so close to Wednesday, and you guys were already preparing stuff to bring for Wednesday, that would have been kind of. You guys probably would have been pretty sad about that. So I was like, all right, I can push it to Wednesday. That's fine. Laura says, determined running guy is determined. He is. Kevin says, 9 weeks is more weeks than the last 2 seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is getting. Really? Or are they doing 8 episodes? By the way, let me just put this out there for a second. How did we get to a point where 8 episodes was considered a season? Can you please explain that to me? It feels like we are getting shortchanged, and I understand that it's difficult to have this marathon thing where you have to be able to put up a certain level of quality for a certain level of time. I get that. But, like, who is the person in charge of season numbers? Like, who made this decision? I don't understand it. It doesn't seem to make any logic. When I was a kid, back when I was your age, whippersnappers, a season was 22 episodes. How did we go from 22 episodes to 8? You want to tell me that? Kevin says 5 episodes each season. Goodness gracious. Britt says, got an even bigger project to hurry and get ready for Wednesday. All right, well, good. Get working on it. Amanda says 8 episodes ain't a season. I agree. Stevie says Netflix did it. It all changed when they did it. I wonder if it did change when they did it, because I know there were other shows that did it before them. I remember the live-action Tick. The first live-action Tick, not the Amazon one. The one that came out on Fox when I was in college, I think is when that came out. That show only had 9 episodes, but I think 2 of them didn't air, so only 7 aired. But I feel like that is maybe around that time was when it was starting, I think. I could be wrong. I also feel like part of this started happening when the writers' strike. Remember the writers' strike? This was back in, goodness gracious, when was it? Like season 5 or season 6 of Lost? I think it happened around that time. I don't remember what other shows were on. 24 was on. But there was a big writer's strike, and it kind of threw a monkey wrench into how long seasons were going for a little while. And I kind of feel like it started around then, maybe. Tabitha says, I think the only thing I will be able to show for Wednesday would be the missing walls I will have, since I have to demo my kitchen wall for new plumbing to be put in this week. Holy cow. That is a major work in progress project, Tabitha. Yes, you're going to have to send us pictures of that. Kevin says, Doctor Who and Rick and Morty have also had short seasons. Yeah, not only has Rick and Morty had short seasons, Rick and Morty takes a long friggin' time before they make another season. Speaking of which, has anybody watched Solar Opposites? It's the spin-off show, not really spin-off, but it's like a pet project from one of the makers of Rick and Morty. I've watched all of it. It's on Hulu, and I enjoy it. It's already been greenlit for a 2nd season, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where they go with it, because, first season, typically a show is trying to find its voice, and I think they usually find it in the 2nd season, typically. Amanda Stair says, the world will never know. That sounds very familiar of the Tootsie Roll Pop commercials. Britt says, depending on the animation and the huge effort on the special effects, shrug. Yeah, it's not always animation and special effects, though. There are shows that are live action that are getting short seasons. A lot of these newer shows that are exclusively for Hulu and Netflix, even if they're just live action, they seem to be getting short seasons too. Stevie says, yes, Heroes died in the writer's strike. Yeah, but let's be perfectly honest. Heroes died before that, because I feel like they only had 2 good seasons, and then that was it. I don't know. The last season of Heroes was like, I don't know. Man, we're not going to go there. That show let me down so much. It had so much potential. But yeah, the writer's strike, it really kind of threw everybody off their game, I think. Heroes died a slow death. That's probably the best description of that series that I can say, too. Yeah. it died a slow death. It had such a beautiful premise, and I really feel like they knew really they knew well how to get us interested and hooked, and then they didn't know how to maintain the energy. And honestly, I feel the same way about Once Upon a Time. That was a show that had a really strong setup and then just like was chugging along, really working season after season, just trying so hard. And you know, some of those episodes were just like really like doing long division, honestly. Amanda says Heroes. LOL. Yeah. Yep. We all lament Heroes. Anyway. But yeah, Tabitha, I think your kitchen project, even though it's not necessarily like a personal art project, it definitely qualifies for work in progress Wednesday. Sure. Laura says, didn't they try to revive Heroes at some point and it choked? Yes. I did not watch the revived Heroes. I did not do that. They also revived Prison Break at one point, but that actually was successful. It had a really good revival, and I watched it, and it was great. And I want to say it was successful enough that they're going to revive it, that Prison Break is going to come back again as a series. I don't know how that's going to happen because I feel like now it's jumping the shark if you keep having the same characters having to escape from a prison. They found a way to keep it new. They did find a way to keep it new, but I don't know if how they're gonna do that again. Stevie says they made a mini series for Heroes. Okay, well that's good to know. I never watched the mini series. I do not know how it worked. But also thank you those of you who are tossing me thumbs up during this show. Just as a reminder, yes, that does mean something and it helps. Thank you. I just got another one. Thank you very much. And if you can, share this video with a friend, I'd appreciate it. Even though I'm taking a break starting next week, I still think we should try to pack the room as robust as we can. Specifically for all your works in progress, I want everyone to see what you guys are doing. So let's go ahead and make sure that happens if we can. Britt says, I remember watching Lost every Wednesday evening up until they kept dragging it on and trying to throw in more crazy things to keep the story interesting. I will defend Lost to the death. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care how much logic you throw at me. Doesn't matter. Okay? That is like one of my all-time favorite shows. I even liked how they wrapped it up. I don't care. There's nothing you can say about Lost to make me not like it. I'm sorry. There's very few things in life where I'm like closed-minded about it, but Lost is one that I am closed-minded about it. It's mine. Kevin says Lost bored me. Fine. More for me. Amanda says she loved Lost. Good. Tabitha says I have to mud the drywall afterwards myself. I will say as a former union drywall finisher, there is an art to applying drywall mud and making it look good. I don't doubt that, Tabitha. I'm sure it is. I've never had to do the handiwork stuff. I'm not opposed to manual labor. I'm not afraid of it. I just haven't had to do very much of it. Maybe if I ever get my own house, I will have never-ending house projects. Stevie says, I never saw Lost. Oh, man. I think it's on Hulu. Britt says, they killed my Charlie. I was done after that happened. Yeah, I understand. But you have to admit, what an exit. I mean, that was a really talk about a show that was a tearjerker. I'm not a fan of watching shows that make people cry. I'm really not. I get kind of irritated with them. But Lost definitely got me crying a few times, and I didn't care. I was just like, you guys got me. You got me. Was it a perfect show? No, it wasn't a perfect show. I don't care. It was. Lost changed television, and everything that came after Lost, a lot of what came after Lost was trying to replicate it, because those of you who don't realize this or didn't watch it, the premiere of Lost felt very much like watching a movie. And I remember it was right around that time where TV and movies were kind of blurring the line, and Lost was one of those shows where you weren't sure what you were looking at. You didn't know. Like, it felt like you were watching a movie, but you were at home, but the production quality was up there and the drama was really high and everything. And I remember thinking that. And then the other thing that people don't realize, even if you watch Lost now, which I think you should if you haven't seen it, but one of the things it's kind of like it's over with now. I don't think you can't really go back in time for this. When the show was coming out episodically, the creators of the show were building in a universe. They were creating a universe, and that universe was happening online. And there was these like websites where you'd go to the website, like you'd find out that, oh man, during the show there was a website mentioned, and you go check it out in real life, and people were like discovering stuff, right? Like it was these fake industrial espionage things, like interactive experiences, treating the internet as if it was an art piece, and being able to like click on parts of this website, and it was like you were uncovering parts of the drama while you were waiting for the next season to happen. They would make these little videos that never made it into the show, but they were videos that were supposed to like fill in the gaps of some of the questions people had. And it was such an exciting thing because it was like there was this underground experience that people who were fans were all experiencing together as it was happening. And then the next season would start, and you're like, oh man, I think I know what's going on here, because I remember digging around on this website and finding these hidden videos. It was so cool. I mean, it was really just an incredible multimedia experience. And, you know, whether it was perfect or not isn't the point. The point is they achieved something really special with that show. They did. Alexandria Shinken says, Brit, oh yes, what is this? Well, Alexandria Shinken, this is whatever this is. It's a live stream show I do every day, and lots of conversations about movies and TV and animation and creative stuff, and lots of audience participation. So I hope you'll stick around and enjoy the show. Laura says, never got started watching Lost. Of course, that was back in the day where there was no Netflix or TiVo. Wait, wasn't there TiVo, or was it only people recording on their DVR? I thought TiVo was around then. I can't remember. You're right, though. Netflix, I think, was around, but at that point in time, Netflix was a service that you had to mail away to get discs sent to you. It was not what it is now. I think Netflix was a thing, though. Britt says, I remember hearing about the website for people to help solve the mystery of the show. Yes, it was so cool. Amanda says, I dug around on websites, too, on Lost. Oh, man, awesome. I'm glad to know somebody else that did that. Britt says, this is a live stream where you can talk. What Phil said. Yes. This is a live stream where you can talk. Yeah, but anyway, so there you go. So that's my minor rant on how awesome Lost is and was. And then after Lost ended, it was really sad. But I like having a good mystery show. I feel like mystery shows are like this category of TV that, like, there's not enough of it. But when it works, it's wonderful. And when it doesn't work, it's kind of hard to get through. And if you want to look for a really solid mystery show that knew when to call it quits, like they probably could have kept it going, but they cut it off early, but it felt really good, was Fringe. Fringe was a really, really great sci-fi show, kind of a little bit X-Files feeling. I want to say it had 5 seasons. I'm pretty sure it was 5 seasons. I know it was 4 seasons for sure. And I think the 5th season was like this separate detached season where it was like they fast forwarded to show where the characters were later in time. But Fringe was a solid show, let me tell you. Amanda says, Fringe! Yes. I'm glad you were going to say that, Amanda. Yeah, Fringe was great. Fringe, I can't speak highly enough about it. I don't even know if it's streaming anywhere, but if you can watch Fringe, definitely watch Fringe. Stevie says, Manifest is good for a current show. Manifest is a good current show, but I'll be honest with you, Stevie. If you ever go back and watch Fringe or you watch Lost, you will see how Manifest is unfortunately really dragging on slowly in a way that I feel like is a detriment to the show. But yes, Manifest is probably the most current thing we have in the form of mystery show. Laura says, How to Get Away with Murder was a good mystery show for its first season. I never saw that, Laura. Never saw it. And Britt says, Wednesdays, we share projects, but by sending Phil photos of your work with a description, and he will show it on the live stream. Yes, I show it on the live stream. We all talk about it. It's good times. I'm not even sure if your friend is still in the room, Britt, but if she is still in the room, hello, Alexandria, I believe your name was. Welcome. You can watch this show here on Facebook. You can also watch it on YouTube. If YouTube is more your thing, hey, here's the link for that. Go ahead and type it in and subscribe over to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel could use some love. It needs some more people. Check it out on YouTube. Anyway, so yeah, I've never seen How to Get Away with Murder. I heard about it. A lot of mystery shows don't seem to last very long. There was one that I really liked. I liked the premise of it, and then after the first season, it just wasn't the same, and just kind of, they never officially canceled it. They just said, we're not canceling it yet, and then they never brought it back again. And then so then yeah, now it's effectively canceled. And that was Wayward Pines. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the show Wayward Pines. It had a really good first season, and it had a weird second season, and I think that's when it died. It was based on a book. I did not read the book, but I thought the first season was good. It had some potential. It had some potential. So I've never seen Twin Peaks. Never watched it. I know they had a revival of Twin Peaks not long ago, and I never saw that. I did watch a lot of the X-Files, and I did watch the revival of X-Files, and I really enjoyed the revival of X-Files, actually. I think I liked this most recent season. Was it season 11? I think so. I think I liked that one better than season 10. But yeah, X-Files definitely is a hard one to try to top. I think that's the gold standard, of weekly mystery shows. A lot of folks who have watched Twin Peaks have told me that's another one, but I've never given it a chance. So Britt says, a show I really enjoyed watching after Lost was Wilfred. Wilfred, I do remember Wilfred. Wasn't that an HBO thing? Wasn't that the one where the guy was like, his dog was played by a real person in a dog suit? Is that show? I think I saw a little bit of that. It was an interesting premise, and it was like he walks and talks like a human, but we're supposed to assume that what his owner is seeing is just a dog being a dog, but we're seeing it enacted by a person walking around in a dog costume. I think that's the one that we're talking about with Elijah Wood. Yep, thank you, Amanda. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Kevin says the gold standard for watching the entire series, only for it to get better with each season, is Deep Space Nine. Well, that's good to know, Kevin. No, I meant the gold standard of mystery show. But that's good if we want to know the gold standard of it getting better with each season. I used to watch Deep Space Nine in college, and I remember liking it, but I don't think I watched all of it. But I remember thinking Deep Space Nine was really good. Yeah. I know Stargate had a lot of seasons. I never gave Stargate a chance. Maybe I watched like one episode, but I never really got into it. But I know that show had a huge following. It had like a spin-off show called Atlantis. Kevin says, sorry, I couldn't hear you over me trying to use a blender for the first time to make a smoothie. You're doing that now? Well, I suppose it's dinner time. Tabitha says, sorry, Phil, I never have watched much TV. I have lasted longer watching your live stream than I have ever lasted with a series TV show. Well, that is high praise, Tabitha. Thank you very much. I don't know how to take that, but I'm going to take it as a compliment, I guess. I try to add variety and not just watch TV all the time. I've really tried during this quarantine time not to watch too much stuff, or to watch stuff that I already own. I'm trying to do that too. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't raised on TV, because I certainly was. I really was. And I used to feel a little bit ashamed of it, but now I'm like, no, man, that's just another form of media. And it's a form that I grew up enjoying, and I still think it's wonderful. So Kevin says, well, I haven't eaten all day. I'm not exactly hungry, but the medicine says to take with food. My gosh, Kevin, I was just giving you a hard time. Go eat something, for crying out loud. Laura says, I did watch Stargate for a while, and it was fun. Look, I own the movie. Does that count? Didn't watch the series, really, but I got the movie. Tabitha says, don't use a straw. It will cause bleeding. Don't risk it. Oh, that's good health tips, everyone. Thank you for that. Stevie says, I watch less TV on quarantine than ever. I like it silent. I like silence. All right. Well, look, sometimes I do that. I usually listen to music or maybe some kind of a podcast or something when I'm drawing at my desk. I like to have something on. But I'll tell you, on the days where it's not too hot and I can keep all my windows open and I can just listen to the birds chirping outside, absolutely. There are lots of times where I will just listen to the outside nature sounds while I'm drawing. I love it. Unfortunately, I think I mentioned this last week or something. I have been receiving a multitude of new neighbors moving in. I'm not going to say anything mean, but I will be saying one thing: the noise has increased, and it's helping me want to get the heck out of here. So that's kind of where I'm at with that right now. Britt says, yes, it was on FX. The original show came from Australia, and they remade it in America with Elijah Wood. From what I heard, the Australian version is different from the American version. Australia's version, I think, leaned more on comedy, and the American version was a comedy / mystery. Interesting. I didn't know ours was a mystery. I thought it was more of like a high concept thing. Laura says, haha, I own the movie too. It's great. Time for a rewatch, I think. Yeah, I mean, Stargate's good fun. Kevin says, I maintain Stargate the movie would not have been successful if there had not been like 3 other sci-fi movies that year. The early 90s were a dry time for sci-fi films. That is true. I think the early 90s probably were, yeah. But the late 90s were better for sci-fi, wouldn't you say? Late 90s, early 2000s were better for sci-fi? I would say so. I mean, at the very least, we got the X-Files movie, didn't we? Was that the late 90s or was that early 2000s? I think it was right around that time. Hey, Ashley. Welcome, Ashley. So I'm just going to reiterate because we're 10 minutes away from the show wrapping up here. Somehow that happened, and I guess when we talk about movies we love, that's what happens. Just as a reminder, a few reminders for you guys, and partially because Ashley just walked in, so some people may not be aware of this. Today is day 3 of my simulcast on YouTube. If you want to follow along with my YouTube exploits, please go there and subscribe. I'd appreciate it, and give the episode a thumbs up while you're at it. And be here these next few days because Wednesday is the last episode for now, of this live stream. So tomorrow is Sunday. I'm having a show. Monday, we're talking about Alice in Wonderland. Tuesday, I have no idea what's happening Tuesday. And Wednesday is Work in Progress Wednesday. That's 4 shows. Piece of my chair just came off of my hand. Sorry about that. 4 shows remaining before I go on break. So if you are enjoying these live streams and you want to support them, you should be here these next 4 days. That's what I'm going to say about that. And anyway, Kevin says the biggest sci-fi movies that came out the same year as Stargate were Time Cop and Street Fighter. You think Time Cop and Street Fighter helped usher in popularity for Stargate? Kevin, I think you might be having some effects from those painkillers. I'm just kidding. Stargate did not have a lot of competition. Stargate was not a great film. It wasn't bad, but it wouldn't have been memorable if it had been a stronger year. Now, that part I do agree. It's not like the most strong film in the world. That's a fair statement. Some films do well because of proximity to what else is not so great around them. Definitely a thing. Thank you guys for being here so much. Thank you for all the thumbs up and hearts. There's 10 of them right now. I really appreciate that. I don't think it usually gets up that high. So that means a lot to me. Thank you very much. Let me see what else is going on. And what else am I forgetting to talk about? Oh, the homework this weekend is Alice in Wonderland. Make sure you watch the Walt Disney classic animated film Alice in Wonderland. If you want to watch the extra credit, if you have time for it, the 1985 TV special Alice Through the Looking Glass is truly something unique. I don't even know if Kevin's seen it. It is a special piece of television kind of like how for a while there Hallmark was making these, 3-night movie events. You remember those? I don't mean the Hallmark Channel. I'm talking about like when Hallmark was making specials for ABC. You remember that? They did one for Dinotopia. They did one for Gulliver's Travels. They were quite good, and they were kind of like these little mini series, these mini movie events. That's what Alice Through the Looking Glass made in 1985 reminds me of. I don't know if Hallmark had anything to do with it. I have to go and do some digging, but that's what it reminds me of, and it was a really great presentation. I remember thinking it was just really great. Kevin says, sorry, I looked at the blender. What piece of television was special? Alice Through the Looking Glass from 1985. Kevin says, Wednesday, before whatever this is, I'll probably be interviewing Gordon Purcell, preeminent Star Trek comic artist of the 1980s and 90s, and Matt Frank, the top Godzilla artist of today, if my jaw lets me have a talk that day. Hey, that's funny you're doing that, Kevin, because I happen to know who Matt Frank is. I happen to know who he is. That's very interesting. You're going to be having Matt Frank on your show. I have been to many a convention where Matt Frank also was there. Kevin said, the Gulliver's Travels TV movie with Ted Danson is way better than it has any right to be. I don't understand what that statement means, Kevin, but I think it's a compliment coming from you, and I'm going to agree with the part that you said it's better. But I think you mean on paper it doesn't sound like it would work. I think that's what you're trying to say. But you're right, it does work. It was really good. It was really, really good, and I genuinely like those Hallmark made-for-TV miniseries. Britt says, I remember TNT had a mini movie series I've watched called Helen of Troy because my sister made me. Worst thing I ever watched. Well, it did go to TNT, so. But they also did one with Sam Neill from Merlin. Did you guys ever see that? That was another one. There was a few of those popularity of the Hallmark specials were doing pretty good. I have to wonder if the popularity of those is what spawned the Hallmark Channel, because I don't think the Hallmark Channel existed at the time. That would be a fun little bit of trivia to find out. I feel like Kevin's going to go look all this up now. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this broadcast, please share it with your friends. Share the video with somebody. Send it to them in a private message. Please do that. And actually, I do want to point out something a little bit different tonight, aside from the usual plugs that I'm plugging. So my friend Renetta got injured last night. She got injured really, really badly. She blacked out and she fell and hit her mouth and was bleeding all over the place, and tried to drive to the hospital, and she blacked out while she was driving. And she's recovering now, but she's in need of some help, and I don't know if anybody can. If the most that you can do is just tell somebody else about it, I would appreciate it. I'm gonna type a link that you can go to for the Facebook link. If you could do that, I would really appreciate it. Just at least take a look. If there's anything you can do to help, she's got a GoFundMe going for her medical bills, and please, if you can, help her out, or if you know somebody else who can help her out, just forward it along, pass it along. Yeah, she posted pictures earlier. She was just like, she almost bit off her tongue when she fell and she blacked out. She almost bit her tongue off. So she's definitely in need of some help. So please, guys, if you can, if at the very least, if you can just tell somebody about it and say, hey, can you help or whatever, just pass it along. I would appreciate it. Britt says, goodness, I hope she feels better or gets better soon. Yeah, me too. Kevin says, I mean, TV films don't usually have the reputation of being great sci-fi or fantasy television, and Ted Danson can be okay, but I don't think of him as like dramatic-ish or for dramatic-ish acting. But this movie is great, and I have it on DVD. Oh, that's good to know. I didn't know they ever released that on DVD, but yeah, it is really great. Gulliver's Travels was really great. Anyway, So thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. Don't forget to watch Alice in Wonderland. We got about 3 minutes left in tonight's show. I appreciate you guys giving that link a look. I do appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. And if you're not already following my progress, my animation progress, I know you might be thinking, well, Phil, I'm your friend on Facebook. Isn't that where I see your progress? Sometimes. You'd be right. Sometimes. No, I'm mostly putting my progress on a combination of Instagram and this link right here. So if you'd like to follow along with my animation exploits, please head over to facebook.com/retail sunshine and check out the posts that I post there. I do post there throughout the week. So Kevin, I hope you feel better real soon. Enjoy drinking your dinner and don't use a straw. It's very important. Guys, try to stay safe out there. You know what I'm saying? Don't get injured. No more injuring. No more injuries, I should say. And yes, I will. I'm drawing a blank right now. What else I was going to say tonight, but I think that might be it. I think anything you guys is on your mind. Kevin says doing all right. It's been great with I don't know whatever this was. It's been great with I don't know whatever this was. What? Okay, that works. Kevin, what's the subject for your talk on Wednesday? I know you mentioned Matt Frank. Is there a specific topic that you're talking about? Anything in particular? Just wondering. Now we got a minute and a half left. Well, if you want to go see Kevin's thing on Wednesday, just go to monomythic.com or just click on Kevin Garcia's name and say, hey, Kevin, where's your thing going to be? And I'm sure he'll send you a link. So there you go. That's Kevin says the subject for Monomythic's talk is licensed comics. Ooh, that's a good subject. That's good. In case you guys don't know what that means making a comic for a property that's already been licensed, like not an independent comic. In other words, if you're somebody who gets hired to work on Godzilla, for example, that is a licensed character working on a license. Okay, that's cool. Kevin says, what does it take to draw comics when you have studios and independent, IP, yes, IP owners watching your back. I don't know why my brain just kind of blanked on that for a second. That is interesting because most creative people don't have the backings of giant companies. So that is actually a really good subject. So Kevin's going to have that talk on Wednesday. Go to see that talk Wednesday. And then when you're done watching that talk on Wednesday, come back to this show here for what I guess Kevin has dubbed my season finale of whatever this is. So 4 more shows. Countdown has begun. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place, same guy, same face.